1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. Brady and Goz pinch hitting for Levac today. Levac sent home early with that sore voice, but now we are on the phone with Matt Painter, the head men's basketball coach at Purdue University. He's got a great tie here locally we're going to get to in about 4 minutes. But first, Coach, we got to start with hoops. Big Ten tournament coming up this week. You've got the double bye. I am interested in knowing how you prepare for a tournament when you have no idea who you're going to be playing.
Well, you have a little bit of idea. Obviously, on Wednesday, Minnesota will play Illinois, so the winner of that will then play Iowa. So last year, it's funny, Penn State was playing Iowa, and you got to kind of pick. And sometimes you're like, well, let's just wait. Well, if you wait, then you don't have your practice time. You wait to finalize that, and then you practice. So we just held tight and worked on ourselves. But, you always think the higher seed, the better seed, will win out, and Penn State obviously beats Iowa. For us, we were right on the fence, right on that bubble, and so we technically were rooting for Iowa because we knew if Iowa beat us, they were a tournament team, and Penn State wasn't a tournament team, and so we were like, hey, we can't take a loss right now from a team that, even though Penn State wasn't playing like it at the time, and we had to battle Penn State, and we were fortunate in the last 5 minutes of the game to be able to get the lead and keep the lead and pull the victory out. But it's there's no doubt you can kind of go back and forth about some things, but I just think if you focus on your team, that's probably the best way to go about it until you actually find out.
Locally, the MAC tournament's been hosted by Siena here at the Times Union Center every game. Our other local team, Albany in the America East, each team, the higher seed, gets to host the game. So what do coaches prefer, the conference tournament at one site or the hosting team, the better school, getting to host the games?
Well, you like it when you're the team hosted. You don't like it when you're the team that's got to go against it. So I like it. I was in the Missouri Valley for 6 years as an assistant and the head coach. I like going to St. Louis. I like the atmosphere. I like everybody getting together, getting on a neutral court. When I was in the Ohio Valley Conference at Eastern Illinois, we did home sites. The top 8 made it from the league. So we did home sites until the Final Four. Then the Final Four went to a neutral site. I think now it's in Nashville, for that league. So that was okay. We actually were a 2 one time against a 7, and we played a team and we swept. And how it's hard to beat a team 3 times. We get beat on our home court. So there's always going to be something. It's just who plays well that night at the end of the year.
Purdue men's basketball coach Matt Painter with us, 1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. Coach, this has been on my mind all weekend. The Atlantic Sun Conference has this weird scenario where Stetson wins the title, but they're ineligible for NCAA play, so it goes to North Florida. What do you think about that, a team that's ineligible for tournament play being able to play in the conference tournament?
Well, I didn't know about it until 3 or 4 days ago, and so I like to hear their rationale why they're allowed to play in their tournament when they can't. It puts everybody in a tough spot. Instead of them if they can't play in the tournament, NCAA tournament, then what's the point of being in the conference tournament, at that point? So, it just puts everybody there. I think you just knock everything down. Don't let them be in the tournament. And so, but I'd love to hear that league office or that commissioner, speak on that topic just to give, maybe he has some sort of rationale behind it, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Coach, we have a local tie here for Coach Fran McCaffery. As you touched on, there's a possibility you play the Iowa Hawkeyes later on in the Big Ten tournament. Any favorite Coach Mack stories from working with him the past few years or going up against him?
Well, they've beat us twice this year. We had them down 19 in the first half at our place, 16.5, and they stormed back and really played well. And he's done an unbelievable job. And he fits in the Big Ten. He's fiery. He gets after his guys, and people in Iowa love him. I had a former assistant that played at Iowa. I roomed with Chris Street, who's a former Hawkeye. And I know how much the people there like their own, and he's become one of them. And I think that's really shows you his makeup. But I think how he gets into it, and he gets fiery, and he gets after people. For them, that was a real breath of fresh air, and they like that about him. And he's done an unbelievable job there. We actually played him at Siena, his last game there, his last game in the NCAA tournament. He got a guy that got injured, and we had a guy that got injured, Robbie Hummel, so late in the year. And so we were fortunate enough to beat him in that game. But we've had a tough time with them. They go small, and they spread us out. We got a lot of size, and they've really played well against us. And he's done a tremendous job at Iowa.
1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. Brady and Goz in for Levac. On the phone, Matt Painter, head basketball coach at Purdue. And Matt, locally here in the Capital Region, you've got a lot of new Boilermakers fans, and the reason why is because you're attached to the Infiniti Coaches Challenge, and you're working to try to win that challenge and raise money for Niemann Pick Type C research. And if you didn't know already, here in the Capital Region, we have a teenager, J.P. Hansinger, who's an honorary member of the Albany basketball team. He's a big part of our community. He suffers from that disease as well. So what made you want to get involved with Niemann Pick Type C research?
Just Trent and Julie Smith. It's under the Smith Breakthrough Fund. They're friends of ours in this community. They have a close relationship, with our women's basketball program. I'm friends with them, and just, when you have different groups that you try to help, like, whether you're trying to help the boys club or you're trying to help March of Dimes, whatever it might be, everything's great. There's nothing that from a charity standpoint that isn't great. But when you know the people and you're attached to people and you're friends with them and you see this struggle they've had 3 of their 4 children have succumbed to this disease and had this disease, obviously, and you see the fight that they put up and the fight that they're trying to do, and it wasn't able to save their own children, but they still every single day are doing everything in their power to do what's best for their kids, but also do what's best for the next kids that are going to have this disease. And so that was really the connection. And it's something that our community is really backed. And obviously we won the challenge last year and we're in the finals again. And so hopefully we can make a run at it here and do it again.
How can fans here in the Capital Region help your cause and get involved?
Well, just, obviously for the Infiniti Challenge, obviously it's a voting system, with that. But just the awareness, and we when I started doing research on it, we go under the Ara Parsegian chapter. His grandchildren, had this disease, and so that's how it started, and just kind of researching and just, given the awareness to it. Anytime you've seen what coaches have been able to do, whether that's, Coaches versus Cancer or any type of, a charity, whatever. But given your time, obviously if you're fortunate enough to give some money, it's just the research. It's very similar from a cancer standpoint. It just, you got to keep, adding towards the research and adding towards this. And they've been great in our community. I mean, this has been, and I can tell from what you guys have talked about and what my Chris Foreman told me about, how you guys have really rallied behind your guy. And so that's just great.
1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. On the phone, Matt Painter, Purdue men's basketball coach. Coach, you're with the Infiniti Coaches Challenge. You can vote until March 13th. We've got a link for that online at 1045theteam.com. We need the entire Capital Region to go rally behind you. And you've got a lot of Purdue fans here in the Capital Region as we try to help you win that for the second straight year. Coach, best of luck in the Big Ten tournament, and thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.